oh, okay, God. You know, you had the master plan. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just had to wait it out. Hi guys, my name is Amelia and thank you so much for tuning into my channel today. I saw my PJs today and I was like, okay, I guess today is as good a day as ever to get this topic out the way. This topic, not the pen topic out the way. I didn't even take a sip, hold on. Also, there's blueberries in here, so there's blueberries in my teeth. Let me know. Well, y'all can't let me know. Y'all ain't even here, but okay, we're good. So I want to talk about like my college application process, and this is gonna be a conversation about higher ed, elitism, and I'm really just gonna be positioning this through my college experience and like my application process as well. So this is the intermission, Amelia. Still wearing pin gear, just black pin. To start off, I feel like it's appropriate to talk a little bit about high school me, just a little bit. To, you know, get from how I got from here to here to here to here to here to here to here. I think that testing has become also an issue, too, nationally, of course. Rooted in everything is racist. So if you're like, oh my God, why does this problem exist? Or, oh my God, how did this come to be? Odds are some racism was involved. I hate to say it. The ACT, SAT is proven discriminatory. And it goes back to the lack of educational preparation in terms of like accessibility to resources and opportunities to children growing up, whether that be based on like where these children live and their as well as their familial income, race, and other factors, right, that are contributing to that. I'm kind of glad that schools are becoming more test optional. I think that that's a good thing. It removes an additional factor that people can use to holistically weigh applicants, which is then, right, essentially making the decision process a little bit harder because there's that one less factor to weigh in. But if the factor that you were weighing in was originally racist, why was it there to begin with? I think I applied to like 10 schools, my income, like senior year going to freshman year. I applied to Cornell, I applied to Northwestern, I applied to USC, I applied to Miami, not Ohio, baby, let's not even play. The U one, yeah, Miami. Arizona State was my safety. Howard was a safety for me. GW, DePaul, with the W, not the L. I might be missing some, but that's what I remember right now. I was rejected from a lot of schools. I know I got into Miami, Arizona State, Howard. I ended up going to DePaul. It was between my choices were Howard and DePaul with the W in middle of nowhere, Indiana. Howard, it was such an unorganized process, getting my acceptance, getting my like financial like statements. I was like, what is going on? Like I have to like make a decision and I'm still not getting stuff in the mail from you. Like, this is crazy. So I went to DePaul. My dad also went to DePaul. I have a legacy there. It's a very small school, like 2,200 total enrollment. There's no grad program. At the time when I went there wasn't a business program. So like now they're expanding a little bit more, but it was very small. Middle of nowhere, Indiana. We're not even talking about like Indianapolis, which still feels like the middle of nowhere. No hate to my Indiana crew. Love y'all, okay? But you know where you're from and you know how it is. So I don't even need to be really explaining much. Ended up at DePaul. I appreciate my time there. And here's what I'll say about transferring too. If you want to transfer anywhere, make the most of your time at your current school first. Like, do everything that you can, because you may end up actually wanting to stay. For me, I knew I really had to leave when I did everything that I could. I was producing and hosting, like, for a TV show for our on-campus TV network. I was writing for the newspaper, and they were about to make me an editor. I was volunteering regularly at the local elementary school. I was featured in our alumni magazine. I was doing stuff for our African American Student Association. I was doing a lot, okay? And I still wasn't fulfilled. I was like, oh my God, this is just not for me. On top of having a 4.0, I was like, this isn't it. So I knew I needed to leave. When you give it a fair shot and you're like, damn, this is not the vibe, then you need to go. I will also say my first year was plagued by a horrible breakup, just being just so sad. Because when you're in the middle of nowhere, oh my God, you want to leave campus? What you gonna do? Where you gonna go? There's nowhere to go. Thank God I have my car, so I would be going home. I was driving back to St. Louis quite often because I was like, well, what else am I gonna do? Nothing. Go home. Or I was going to visit other friends, other places. So I was visiting other campuses too during this time, which is very helpful. So if you have that opportunity to do that, like, I visited Mizzou, I visited Ohio State, I visited Loyola Chicago. I was just seeing everything. I was like, yeah, my school is just not for me. So when I made the decision to transfer, I knew I had to also retake my test. So I retook my test, but this time I took the SAT, and I got like the equivalent. I don't remember the exact SAT score, but I got the equivalent of like a 30 ACT. So I was like, hell yeah. Second go round, I applied for GW again. I applied to Howard. I applied to Syracuse. I applied to Penn for the first time. I applied to Northwestern again. I applied to USC again. Northwestern was always my top choice. I'm actually wearing Northwestern shorts right now, believe it or not. Very comfortable, but they hate me. They hate me because they rejected me twice. I really wanted to go to Northwestern or USC. I was like, I visited both, and I was like, oh my God, I'm in love. And then they rejected me 2 times over. I was like, damn, I'm gonna get a break. Y'all gonna stab me in the back and the front. Like, oh my God, but whatever. Rejected, rejected, rejected. I got into Syracuse. Howard rejected me the second time. I was like, oh, y'all mad. Y'all mad because I came back and I didn't say yes the first time. Like, damn. I was accepted in Syracuse and I was accepted to Penn. Those are the only places I was accepted. So it's either Penn, Syracuse, or stay at the fall. And I was like, I ain't staying. I don't want this to be this video to be taken in the context that I'm like hating on DePaul. No, my professors there, amazing, I love them, and I still am friends with my friends at DePaul. Like, DePaul gave me some of my best friends I've ever had. It just wasn't for me, and there's so many other people that love it there. And so, you know, you're not gonna like every school. It's like you're not necessarily gonna fit in at every school. It is what it is. Ended up at Penn. I'm trying to find the video when I found out I got to Penn. My friend was recording, actually randomly, and I barged into her room with like a matching, because I love matching PJs. Matching PJ set on, bandana, and I'm like, I just got accepted to UPenn. And she was like, shock. I was, because also Penn was my last acceptance. I was rejected from everywhere. So when I got into Penn, it was like, oh, okay, God. You know, you had the master plan. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just had to wait it out. Thank you. I know that's right. Like, obviously, I knew, like, the school existed, but it wasn't on my radar to the point where I was like, oh my God, like, yeah, like, I want to go here so bad. So then when I really looked more into it, I was like, oh my God, wait. I think this might be the perfect school. School spirit was something also that was important to me, because at my old school, it wasn't really all there. And mostly it's there from sports. So Penn, I kind of thought was gonna be like that, but it's really not. It's really like the school spirit is like going to an Ivy League. Like, that's why people are wearing the sweatshirts all the time and the gear all the time. They're repping because they're like, Ivy, Ivy, Ivy. They're not repping because they're like, the football team or the lacrosse team. Or, no, like, no one, they're not worried about that like that. Like, no. I'm sorry. No. It's not to say there isn't athletic talent at these schools. Like, there definitely is, but like, I'm also not a sports person, so don't even like take my opinion like it's like fact or nothing, okay? I'm just saying, most people going to Penn are going for school. They're not going for sports necessarily. Like, some are going for sports, but you know, they're going for the sports and the school. Some people are going to school for the sports, not for the school. You know what I'm saying? That probably makes no sense. That was a surprise to me going to Penn because I was like, oh, I thought people cared about the sports here. People were like, girl, no, we don't go to football games. We just go to homecoming game and that's it. I was like, what? And she was like, people don't even go into that. I was like, not as big of a thing as it should be. It is more so for basketball. Basketball is bigger at Penn than football, I will say. And track, because Penn relays. Do I think that my time at Penn was harder than when I was at DePaul? Abso-freaking-lutely. Oh my God. I was at DePaul only my freshman year. Of course, the work's gonna be easier freshman year. I heard horror stories from my friends who were at Penn freshman year, especially my STEM people. Oh my God, they suffered bad. Here's another thing about going to Penn. If you go to Penn, be prepared to have to explain constantly that you do not, in fact, attend Penn State. And your mascot is not, what the hell is their mascot? A lion? I don't know what it is. Nittany Lion. Your mascot is not a Nittany Lion. You are not in the Big Ten. You're gonna be fighting for your life every single day to explain that to people. If you say you go to Penn, they're gonna think Penn State potentially. Or they're gonna ask a clarifying question. Oh, you mean Penn State? And then you'll be like, no, I mean UPenn. Or they might be like, oh, UPenn or Penn State? And then you clarify. But I can't tell you how many times I've been like, oh yeah, I go to UPenn. I start saying you just so people get it right. And they'd be like, oh, go Lions. Baby, my mascot is an old white man. I don't know who that is. Someone said to me, oh, your school was out of March Madness or something. Like, first off, like I watch basketball. Second off, I was like, baby, I already know we not in no type of March. Happy, angry, mad, nothing. Not my school. Wrong one. Back to, I was gonna say this earlier and I got sidetracked, honestly, with the whole sports thing. So our school spirit comes from like this elitist tone in the fact that we're an Ivy. It is. It just is. So that's how I'm gonna identify that at. It is what it is. I think that it was really important that I hopped in here with the intermission, especially now, because I think that the conversation right now, what I'm seeing that's trending in like on TikTok, on Twitter, and just on social media in general is, you know, discrimination and applications. Specifically, and let me get the iPad. Hold on, y'all. Specifically the one kid. Let's see, kid rejected. Okay, found him. So, I don't know why I just choked on. This kid is one of the plaintiffs in that Supreme Court case. This is from the Daily Mail. We're just gonna read this, okay? John Wang, da-da-da-da. Okay, he's 18, he got a 1590 on the SAT, and he scored a 4.65 GPA in high school. He's one of the plaintiffs in a Supreme Court case seeking to end the practice over claims it unfairly discriminates against high-performing Asian Americans. In January, the High Court said it will take up lawsuits from anti-affirmative action groups, Students for Fair Admission, claiming that Harvard University, a private institution, and the University of North Carolina, a state school, discriminate against Asian American applicants. I know Penn better not be in there because they're the same number of Asian kids as white kids, but I digress. The suit claims that affirmative action policies meant to favor members of historically disadvantaged groups gives an edge to African Americans, Hispanics, and Native Americans over Asian students. He was a director from Harvard, MIT, Caltech, Princeton, Carnegie Mellon, and Berkeley. And he's blaming affirmative action, which we all know, well, I don't know if we all know, but we should know by now, that affirmative action benefits white women the most. Let's take a look at Penn's demographics, so then you can see how funny it is. Undergrad, out of fall 2022, 9,889 students at UPenn. No, he didn't say he was directed. He did not say he was directed from UPenn, but this is an Ivy, so we're just gonna go with it here. The population of white students, 30.8%. The population of Asian students, Asian/Pacific Islander, 27.5%. The population of international students, 13.3%. Hispanic, Latino, 10.5%. Black, African American/Black, 7.9%. This is available online. Like, you can go look this up right now. Here you go. You can go look this up right now for your viewing pleasure. But we see all the time when people say, oh, like, you're Black, you just got in because of affirmative action, blah, blah, blah. Well, we're really not. We're literally clinging on to our 7.9%. We can't even get to 8%. Think about that, please, before you try to come for Black people and say we're taking your spots. I beg. Okay, let's look up Harvard's. A brief profile of the admitted class of 2026. Damn, that's a lot of white people. Harvard got a lot of white. That's a lot of white people. I'm looking at this chart like, God damn. The whole thing is white. The whole thing is white people. Okay, they probably got like 46% white people. Asian people, they got a smooth, like, I'd say 18% if I'm looking at this chart. Hispanic, they probably got 7%. Black people, they probably got 11%. Okay, period. Let's look up Berkeley. New freshmen admitted. Bro, no, this is actually sick. This is sick. Black, African American, 2022, 3.4%. Mexican American, Chicano, 14.8%. Oh, period. Okay. Other, Hispanic, Latino, 5%. Okay, they popped out. Okay, Latino community, y'all popped out at Berkeley. Okay, period. Native American, Alaska Native, 0.6%. Oh my God, leave them alone. Leave them alone. Why are y'all coming for them in this lawsuit? Like, oh my God. They're literally always making up like 1% at these schools. Leave them alone. Like, oh my God, let them go to school. I need them to actually like go look at these numbers again and then like think to themselves. Pacific Islander, 0.1%. Chinese, 15.3%. Y'all already crushing everybody else. Y'all already crushing everybody else. Filipino, 3.8%. Japanese, 1.4%. Korean, 4.6%. Other Asian, 1.5%. South Asian, 12.7%. Vietnamese, 3.9%. White, 19.7%. Let me add up the Asian community so then I get the number right. Plus 3.8% equal 39.3% at Berkeley. You're mad they rejected you and they accept Asian kids the most? I don't know what to say. There's less white kids? I'm actually shocked. Full transparency here. A lot of people who I know complained about their time at Penn because of Penn's impact on the community. They would say things along the lines of Penn didn't do enough to support the local community, which Penn does have a lot of initiatives to give back to local community, but I don't disagree. I do think that Penn could do more, right? Certainly, right? This is a $1 billion, it's a non-for-profit. When you rolling with multi-billion-dollar endowment, I mean, you can do a little bit of something, you know what I'm saying, for the people of Philly. Ooh, not read into it. And there's a lot of people who live in denial and try to act as if they are a certain way, and when in reality, they're not. And in the context I make this statement is in higher ed. We see people criticize higher ed, criticize elite top 20 institutions. Okay, like that, you have every right to do that. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I have critiques of all these schools as well. But some people, they trash their schools so bad, so bad. Then graduation roll around. I just graduated from the #1 school in the country for blah, blah, blah. Ivy League, da, 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 da. And I'm like, weren't you just saying that you literally like hate with your soul higher ed and the establishment and all that? Okay. Because if you was really about it, because let's be for real, if you were really about that, you're not gonna go to the school then. You know what I'm saying? Like, just admit that you want to attend the school to reap the benefits of the education and the resources and whatever else. And a part of you likes the eliteness of it. A part of you likes the fact that you can say in your Instagram caption when you post them grad pics, test to the side, yeah, I graduated from the #1 school for la la la. And what about it? You love it. You love it. And that's okay. See, the thing about me is, I fully admit that. I fully admit that. That is one of the reasons why I went to this school. Do I think that there's so many things that Penn can do better? Absolutely. When it comes to for its students and for the local community and for communities at large, yes, it can do more. Do I feel like talking about what it could do and quantifying all that right now? No. I don't have time. But do I also know what I got myself into and why I went to Penn? Absolutely. I'm fully transparent about that. I went to Penn because top political science program, top communications program, location, campus, and it's an Ivy. I am a big supporter of Black people and people of color going to university, going wherever they want, getting it paid for. I'm rooting for the Black people in the POC to go to these schools because we Black in POC. Yeah, and we deserve to make use of these resources, okay? I'm gonna keep my arguments focused on Black people because I'm Black. So before anybody tries to come for me like, well, what about, and what about, and what about, and what about? I'm talking about me. I'm talking about my perspective. I'm talking about my community. Thank you very much. Peace and blessings. I love it when I'm seeing Black people in these spaces in higher ed. If that's what's meant for them, because college ain't meant for everybody, okay? But we as Black people, we haven't even gotten our 3 acres and a mule yet. Until reparations gets here, I want to see as many Black people getting their degrees and getting them for free, really, honestly. Black people should be having access to all of the resources and all of the opportunities that going to these schools provides. Whether it's a top 20 or an Ivy or an HBCU or a state school, I don't care. I want Black people to get educated, personally, if that's what's meant for them, okay? It's hard for me to be like, okay, yeah, certain scholars are giving back to their communities because they're covering these stories and they're covering these experiences, like especially like if we're talking about like Black scholars who are writing about like Black issues, right? Or Black life in any capacity. But then it's like, I want to read your work, but then I have to pay $200 to read it because it's like locked up in a journal somewhere. And I know that like you've worked very hard to be able to write this and to be able to produce this and to be able to like share it and to make space for Black voices, Black stories at this higher level. But then it's like, damn, the people that you're writing about, right? They might not necessarily be able to have access to your story. because only 7.9% of us are in here. You know what I mean? So then it's like, okay. My thing is also the accessibility of these resources, of journals, of scholarly articles by Black scholars. I think the biggest thing too in critiquing the university, right? Rightfully so, also is how do we as Black people, after attending these universities, how do we as Black people then give back to our local communities? How do we as Black people then become change agents in the world? Some people might say like, well, that's not my responsibility, I don't care. Well, okay then. For me personally, I don't think that I am going to, light the fire that's going to burn up elitism into nothingness. I don't think that I'm going to be the one to do that. One person. No. Do I still say that like my reasons for attending Penn were out of elitist notions? Partially, not completely. Yes, that is true. I wanted to go to a top university. To say that I went to a top university and to receive the benefits of going to a top university. Yes. Does that mean that, inherently, like philosophically, I think elitism is good? No. I just recognize that it is what it is and that I'm gonna reap the benefits of it, and I think that everybody Black should especially reap the benefits of it, while still also simultaneously making steps towards promoting actual change, which means making certain resources and opportunities more equally accessible, which means if elitism is still going to be the thing and we still got to fight for our spot in these schools, unfortunately, instead of education just being equally accessible to all, because God forbid we do anything like that, then that means that I'm volunteering, helping, like I volunteer, like, with high schoolers, helping them write their essays, helping them like get ready for college interviews and things like that. Like that is the type of, like, how are you then like gonna go to these schools? Like, and then what are you gonna do after? Are you gonna then get back to your community? Are you then gonna, or are you just gonna say, I got this degree and dip? Do you know what I mean? If I don't do anything at all to help kind of dismantle this system, or at least create a change in it, then I don't think I would, it wouldn't sit right with me. So that's how I navigate that, right? Acceptance, but also like, let me at least do my little part. You can go anywhere and succeed. I fully believe that too. I fully believe you can go to any school. That's why when you see the whole like PWI versus HBCU debate, and they want to sit here and be like, well, you're not gonna get this if you go to HBCU, and they're gonna be like, well, you're not gonna get this if you go to PWI. Well, you're not gonna get certain things if you go to any damn school, because every school is different and it is what it is. So go where you want to go. That's my belief. I'm like, just go where you want to go. It is what it is. And just find whatever people you get along with and make community where you feel seen and heard. I will say, I was the only Black transfer in my year. So that was crazy. A little bit lonely. But, I'm pretty social and outgoing, so it wasn't really much of a problem to make new friends. I was the only Black woman transfer, period. And the only Black transfer in my class. I'm so team go where you want to go to school. You're gonna get a good education regardless. When I say in my experience, I had a lot of doors open for me that I otherwise wouldn't have even known existed if I hadn't gone to Penn. That is true. But you can go somewhere else and have similar, if not the same, doors open for you too. It's all a matter of your experience and like, how you make your college experience and the connections you end up making during your time. All I know is I wanted to make my life easier. So I was like, even though it's not financially easier, because I have loans. It's crazy actually when you really think about it, because why is anyone paying so much for education? Penn is also so expensive. That isn't talked about nearly enough. I think Penn is probably one of the most expensive universities in the country. I think it is. Let's look it up. No, I don't want 47. I want number 1. What's number 1, baby? Harvey Mudd? Oh, but number 2 is Penn. What I say? What I say? Yeah, expensive as out the wazoo. It's crazy. August 2022, people was paying $76K a year to go to Penn. So yeah, the price is outrageous. I feel like people, long story short, go where you want to go for school. Penn is expensive. Penn did the job for me. It gave me friends. It gave me a great education. I had a job before I graduated. And that is the norm at Penn, honestly. I will say that. Like, a lot of people already got their stuff lined up. And a lot of people don't, but a lot of people do. It did what it needed to do for me. But like, someone else could have went there and had a complete opposite experience and left. There's people that leave. So, you know what I mean? Like, you gotta take everything with a grain of salt because everything's gonna be different for every person. So, if you're thinking about, you know, if you're in school, you're thinking about transferring, or you're in high school and you're applying to school, like, you just gotta go where you wanna go. Truly. And if you can't go where you wanna go because you can't afford it, then go where they give you the money. Long story short, elitism is a thing. It's unfortunate. We didn't even talk about legacy admissions. The elitism in that is through the charts. But yeah, I honestly don't really talk about going to Ivy League like that much. Whenever people ask, like, I only talk about it if it's asked. If life was a dream, school would be free for everybody. School would be accessible for everybody. And therefore, elitism in higher ed wouldn't exist. But this is the real world. So, that's not where we are, unfortunately. So until then, I'm gonna be rooting for equitable application processes, and I want to see more Black and brown kids with opportunities to get into college. I think that concludes today's video. Thank you so much for sticking around if you made it to this point. It's kind of long, I know. Like I said, had to get the whole Ivy League thing out the way because now we're probably never gonna talk about it again. I'm glad that we covered this, and I'm glad that now we can cover so many more things moving forward. And yeah, if you like this video, please be sure to actually physically like it and subscribe if you're feeling frisky, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm actually going to attempt to really be thorough with the content. So yeah, I appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much again for watching, and take care. Until next time, bye.